Hey brothers, what's up? JK with Reboot here, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between self-confidence and self-esteem and why this is important to your reboot. Welcome brothers. One of the big mistakes that I made early in my reboot was not knowing the difference between self-confidence and self-esteem. In fact, I would use both terms interchangeably, and I didn't really understand how much this damaged me and held me back till years later. The reason that I made this mistake was that it was just one of those things that I never bothered to question. And maybe you're the same. You just never make the effort to truly understand the difference between self-confidence and self-esteem. It's one of those things that I think a lot of people take the meanings of both things for granted. The moment that I learned the difference, I understood what it would take for me to become truly content in my life. And that was one of the things I was seeking. I was actually seeking a life where I could be happy most of the time and content almost all the time. And I didn't think that was too much to ask. I thought that that was something that was reasonable. And understanding the difference between both of these terms made all the difference. And I'm going to keep this very simple and just show you the differences and how they hold you back in your reboot. Now, typically when you ask someone how they're doing, or how their self-esteem is, they'll tell you, it's good. I have pretty good self-esteem. But the interesting thing is most guys are thinking of their self-confidence when you ask them about their self-esteem. See, self-confidence, the most simple definition is how you feel about what you do. And self-esteem is how you feel about who you are. You can be very, very successful and accomplished if you have great self-confidence. And I work with a lot of men like this in my coaching practice, which means that you are very confident about something you do. And in many cases, that thing you do might actually end up becoming your identity. Let's say you are a doctor, or you are a lawyer, or you are an entrepreneur, and you're very good at what you do. This is what you do most of the time. People know you as John or as Bob, the lawyer, or John the surgeon, or whatever career that you're in, and you identify with that. You're really good at that. That is the thing that puts money in the bank. That's the thing that you use to take care of your family. That's the thing that opens doors for you. That's the thing that has basically helped you move forward in life. That's the thing your parents and loved ones are proud of you for accomplishing, and so it becomes the thing you do. And the big problem with having self-confidence and confusing it with self-esteem, which is how you feel about who you are, is that it holds you back in your reboot. And so when you are going through a reboot and you're trying to end your out of control behavior, you really don't feel like you have a problem. You might hear me or a therapist or some other person talking about how pornography addiction is affecting you, and you're like, I don't think it really affects me. I'm not like those guys. I'm accomplished. I'm doing well. But why is it that you feel that something is missing? That's the question you want to ask yourself. Why is it that despite all the work that you put in and all the things you've accomplished, you still wake up in the morning feeling depressed? You still wake up in the morning feeling like you're worthless? And no matter what anybody tells you, you still feel like some sort of fraud. You still feel very bad inside. And this is something you carry with you over the years. And that's because your behavior with pornography can chip away at your self-esteem while leaving your self-confidence, what you do, intact. This is also a good time for me to point out to my brothers who believe that if they improve their self-esteem, that their lives are going to improve greatly. So there's some men who feel like, man, if I could work on my self-esteem, then I would be able to move up financially. I would be able to get into my ideal relationship. I would be able to gain different things in life. And that's not the case. Usually you're thinking like that because you're confusing self-esteem with self-confidence. Unlike many therapists and individuals who give men advice on issues like this, I don't think it's that big a deal if you don't have any self-esteem when you have nothing. I actually feel that if you don't have any self-confidence and any self-esteem, you need to start building some self-confidence. That is one of the easiest things to build, because how you feel about who you are, your self-esteem, could have been determined by the way you grew up, the place you grew up, the culture you grew up in, or your religion. And these are messages which are embedded deeply into your subconscious mind. It takes a lot of work to improve your self-esteem, but you can definitely work on your self-confidence. What does working on your self-confidence do? Working on your self-confidence helps you to move to a place in life where you are comfortable enough and you're not so busy spending all your energy focusing on your most basic needs that you can actually start working on your self-esteem. And that's really what I did. I didn't have anything. I didn't have the finances. I didn't have the relationship. I didn't have even the brains to accomplish certain things. So I had no self-confidence because there was nothing I could look at and say, this is what I do and I do it well. I pretty much felt that I sucked at everything. And I also had low self-esteem from different things that happened to me when I was growing up. And what really saved me was working on my self-confidence. Now, I didn't know that back then, that I was working on my self-confidence. I had made the mistake of confusing the two, so I thought I was working on my self-esteem, but I was really working on my self-confidence. And then when I got to a place where I was well off financially, where I was a lot more independent, when I had been able to date a few women and gain some confidence in that area of my life, I then felt good about many of the things that I could do. And so I had high self-confidence. I was fortunate enough to be working on my reboot, and then I understood that I still felt like crap despite having all those things because I had low self-esteem. But at this point, I was able to work on my self-esteem, and there was nothing else, brother. There was nothing else holding me back and pulling down my self-esteem. So when you're in a tough place in life, and multiple areas, your social life, your financial life, your relationship life, even your health, when multiple aspects of your life are just in the dirt, it doesn't help your self-esteem if it's already low. So my advice to you is to build up your self-confidence first. Start working on that first, and then work on your self-esteem. Now, what if you don't know if you have low self-esteem? What if you get this concept that I'm explaining, but deep down you still go like, but I don't know, JK. I mean, I identify so closely with what I do. Here's a simple exercise that you can do to kind of identify this. So you pull out a pen and paper, and I always recommend putting pen to paper because we tend to absorb the material that's done in exercises when we put pen to paper better. Also, any exercise where we put pen to paper it's there. It can't be deleted easily or set aside in some folder on our phone or our computer. So pen to paper. On this paper, I would like you to write down a few sentences, and all of these are I feel, and then a certain emotion that is associated with low self-esteem. So write all of these down, and then after that, go through them and then find out if you can identify with any of those emotions that you wrote out. So write out I feel worthless, I feel unloved, I feel unwanted, I feel shallow, I feel irrelevant, I feel stupid, I feel foolish, I feel like a bad person, I feel weak, and I feel like I am a mistake. So write all of those down. Feel free to rewind the video a little bit and write them all down. And then identify which of these that you actually feel on a regular basis. Now, it's okay if you feel one or two. That doesn't mean you have low self-esteem. It probably means that it's something more temporary, something that might be happening to you, or something that affected you in the last couple of months or the last year that you still haven't resolved. But if you identify a handful of these emotions, regardless of how awesome your life may seem on the surface, but if you identify these and you're like, man, I actually walk around feeling this way. On the outside, people think I'm this sort of person, but deep within me, I identify with these particular emotions. Well, that's a sign that you probably have low self-esteem. And When you get to a point that you can identify that you have low self-esteem, that's a great place to start working on your reboot. Shame is one of the big things that lowers our self-esteem. When you engage in an out-of-control behavior over and over again, and you lie about it, you lie to yourself, you lie to your loved ones, you lie to your parents, you lie to your wife, or you live this life where on the surface everybody thinks you're this great moral person, but deep within you're not, then you're going to experience low self-esteem. It's a message that is given to you over and over and over again till it becomes a part of your identity. And eventually, you can live your life, but it's going to be a life that is not happy, and it's going to be a life where there isn't much contentment. And as I said at the beginning of the video, personally, that is one of the things I was seeking. And in Porn Reboot, that is one of the goals that I have for the men who go through our program. I want you to be a happier man, and I want you to be a content man. And you cannot be either of those things if you have low self-esteem. Your material goods and the things that you accomplish are nothing without self-esteem. But with self-esteem, well, you're going to enjoy your short or long time on this planet. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Now, whenever you're ready, there are a couple of ways that I can help you end your out-of-control behavior with porn, sex, or masturbation. The first way is to download a free copy of my ebook. It's called Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men, and it's the roadmap to ending your out-of-control behavior with pornography. There's a link to download it in the description of the video below. The second way is to join our free Facebook group. It is a group where you can get yourself an accountability partner, and you can be in a community of men who are actually serious about their reboot. This isn't a group where guys are talking about semen retention or superpowers or how stopping fapping is going to help you make you more attractive. It's a serious group for men who just want to come in, learn how to end their behavior, and move on with their life, regardless of how many years they've been struggling with their out-of-control behavior with pornography. And the final way is if you feel that you are at a point in your life where you're ready to end your behavior with pornography faster. So let's say you're making some progress, but you're like, man, JK, I need to do this quicker. I can't be spending years and years. If you are in a place where you need a step-by-step system, if you've been picking things from different places and you're like, dude, just give me the do this and do this and do this and do this and I'll get this result. And if you are in a place where you need a mentor, you need somebody who has actually been there before, who can hold your hand and guide you through the process. If you're the type of person who learns best that way, then you may be a good fit for one of our group coaching programs. And there's a link to speak to one of my reboot strategists in the description of this YouTube video below. So there are a few restrictions to this. We do not work with men who are under the age of 18. Only one of our programs is open to men over the age of 18, and the other program is open only to men who are over the age of 25 and who are in high performance professions where they don't have much time to visit with a therapist or to go to a rehab center. Maybe you're a person who has only 2 hours a week to invest in your reboot. Then the program for you would be the Porn Reboot Intensive. You'd have to speak to one of our reboot strategists to find out if you're a good fit for that. If you found the video helpful, don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions or if there is a topic that you would like me to cover, go ahead and ask your question in the comment section below. Have a great day.